Look how hard that dolphin is whacking the water. You can even hear it from the boat that we were on. Oh my gosh, welcome to Marine Monday, Animals with Amy. I am Amy and this is Thumper. And today we're talking about bottlenose dolphins. It is insane how hard this bottlenose dolphin is whacking the top of the surface, and they are hunting for food. That is why I keep smacking the top. It is just so unbelievable that I was able to see this in the wild. I was freaking out, as I'm sure you can hear in the video. I might mute it. I was in South Carolina on the East Coast of the United States in September, actually for my birthday, and all I wanted for my birthday was to go see dolphins. And this dolphin tour in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina did not disappoint. You can see the different pods of dolphins, and there's mainly just one that's whacking the surface, but the entire pod was feeding. And we actually saw a few different pods that day, which was really, really cool. And bottlenose dolphins are some of the most intelligent animals in the animal kingdom, with so many different varieties of hunting techniques based on just where they live, which is really cool. So whacking the tail on the top of the water so intensely, it causes the fish to be stunned, and it like pauses them long enough for the dolphins to be able to catch them faster and eat them easier, essentially, which is just so cool and so smart. You'll see some orcas do this as well. Now orcas tail whacks are much more intense because they're so much bigger, but the dolphins can still stun the fish when they whack the tail on the top of the surface. You can also notice if dolphins are in giant pods, they'll smack the tail on the top if they only do it once to kind of signal changing direction in the pod, which is also pretty cool. But in this specific video that I referenced in the beginning, they were doing it to stun the fish to feed, which is amazing. They can also use their sonar, so the echolocation, they can make it so loud if they're kind of close to their prey to also stun the fish. So they use air sacs at the base of their blowhole to send out excruciatingly loud sonar clicks repeatedly, and that'll also stun the fish. And the sonar is really cool when they send out the echolocation from essentially their blowhole and their melon, which is like the front squishy part of their head that looks like a forehead between their eyes. It goes out through the water. When it hits something in the water, it kind of reverberates back towards them. And there's little slits in the dolphin's jaw with fatty tissue that absorb the returning sonar where it bounced off of something, and it goes into their inner ear to essentially paint together a picture, and they can figure out their surroundings. So not only do they use their sonar as their tool for sight, they can stun fish with it once they realize how close it is, and they don't want to whack the tail, which is so cool. Some bottlenose dolphins also I think it's in Australia. Yes, I will double check that. Some bottlenose dolphins also in Australia, they do something called hydroplaning. So the fish have evolved and learned that the closer they get up to the shore, the dolphins kind of can't reach them because they get so much more shallow. And dolphins are actually pretty big. So the smaller fish can go a lot farther and get out of the way of the dolphin and saving them from being eaten. Okay, well, dolphins are also extremely intelligent, and they figured out how to hydroplane all the way up to the edge of the beach, grab the fish, and then come all the way back down. Now this does give them an opportunity to unfortunately get stranded on the beach, but way more times than not, they're perfectly fine. They got their dinner, they had a little ride on the way, and they can go out and have a great rest of their day, which is so cool. So we have tail whacking with their flank tail. They have sonar stunning. We have hydroplaning. They also can do something called a bait ball, where dolphins and the pod work together using either air bubbles through their blowhole, sometimes patting their tail on shallow sand to create almost like a sand barrier that looks like a circle. And fish aren't the most intelligent, so when they see the sand rise up or the bubbles rise up, they think it's almost like a wall, and they're like, oh my God, we can't leave. So they start jumping out of where the bubbles or the sand is. They start jumping out, and there's dolphins on the outside just chilling there with their mouths open, waiting for the fish to jump right into them. And that wasn't the bait ball. I got excited to start talking about the circles that the dolphins made. The bait ball is when the pod swarms in different directions a school of fish and creates like a giant school of fish bait ball, and dolphins essentially take turns darting through and eating the fish. And there's also been fish documented in South America working with fishermen, and you can argue, are they working with fishermen? Are the fishermen just using their behavior to track where the fish are? You can argue both, and you can't ask them, so it's up for debate, which is actually pretty fun. But fishermen in Brazil will watch where the dolphins are hunting, and it leads them to the giant schools of fish, so fishermen can also fish in that same area, and everyone's happy because everyone's getting their prey, their food, and their fish. And all of that being said, there are even more and different ways that dolphins hunt throughout the world, and they're so intelligent based on where they're at. They have different hunting techniques because the fish they hunt can be different. The terrain is different even underwater. And they're just some of the coolest creatures in the absolute world. And I am blown away that I was gratefully and thankfully able to see that with my own eyes. They're so freaking cool. So happy Marine Monday. Thank you for watching Animals with Amy. I hope you all have a great rest of your week and come back next Monday to see what else we talk about. Woohoo!